think the president-elect of the National School Board Association the Windsor Board of Education regular meeting of Tuesday, June 17th to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. It's always a fun meeting when we can honor some great students in the district, and we've been trying to highlight that in the last few meetings that we've had, and nothing better than some Windsor High School artists that are here. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Dr. Haiti.
All right, I would like to call Miss Lisa Smith and Miss Sarah Asplund to present our awardees tonight.
All right, good evening. The Windsor High School Art Department held their art show this past May in the Windsor High School Library, which included work from all art classes from this school year. As part of the awards, Board of Education President David Fury, Superintendent of Schools Dr. Terrell Hill, and Dr. Breon Parker, Principal of Windsor High School, selected individual student work, which will be professionally framed and displayed as part of our permanent collection. Here are the 2025 purchase prizes. Board of Education Purchase Prize, Victoria Dupree. This year's Board of Education prize selected by David Fury goes to Victoria Dupree for her acrylic painting, Skies Up, Eyes Up. Victoria's art is a reflection of her journey and everything she finds beautiful. She wants people to see the process, the mistakes, the learning, and the transformation behind it all. Victoria hopes viewers connect not only with what she's made, but with the story of how far she's come and how far she plans to go. Victoria will be attending Central Connecticut State University in the fall, where she will continue her journey there.
Separate pictures, or should we do it?
Maybe we can do it all together.
I don't know what we've done in the past.
Yeah.
Why don't we do? She can come around and meet the board members.
Yeah, she's gonna have to
Yes.
dodge us. Why don't we go in the front?
I think we'll all have to go to the front.
I'm confused too. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, congratulations. So you're gonna go in the back, huh? Oh, congratulations.
I think you guys will probably.
Here, you pop over there. This is.
This way?
It's a, yeah, this is.
No, you go up front.
Folks, we could have put this someplace else.
Yeah, you're up front. You're the star of the show.
Couldn't have them go.
We're always here. We just sit in the back.
We're all gonna be in the. You have a photographer.
Yeah, so just
Squeeze in.
make it work. You know, congratulations.
Oh, sure, yeah.
There you go.
Like it. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Congratulations.
Should have had a dress rehearsal.
I know.
Yeah,
Figuring it out.
strange.
Okay. So this year there was 2 superintendent purchase prize selections. I will be reading the first one, but was selected by Rose Preet Kaur, and her work. Rose has stated, "Flowers have always been a motif throughout my life, recurring in my culture, family, and memories, always fascinating me. I've learned that flowers can symbolize many things such as sadness, love, hate, well wishes, growth, or even memories. A sparkling spotted Joe Pye weed is an acrylic landscape painting based off of a photo she took at Washington Park. It conveyed not only the versatility of painting, but also a flora. Rose will be attending UConn in the fall and majoring in math, science, finance. Congratulations, Rose.
Where do we go? I think we ought to go there. Let's go over there and shake it.
We have to have a receiving line here.
We're gonna have, there you go. Good job. Amazing.
Usually we have
Wave to
people
the
go
floor.
through here,
Yeah.
but because the
art's
artwork.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, just come on over here.
Congratulations.
On the one on the far left.
Never met her, right? You really went to
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
feel like it's awkward.
Good idea.
Very awkward. Because they can't see which one is the 100.
She has planned.
She said, because
That's fantastic.
all of them, you can't tell which one is the
Yeah, that's fair. Do
We all get
in
around
front?
here.
All right, all right.
Okay, that's fine.
That works. All right, now we got it.
By the fourth one, we'll be down.
We're gonna challenge you, get us all in.
I will make it work. That part. 3, 2, perfect. Congratulations, my friend.
Why don't we take the same thing with
Yes, rewind. Stay here. All right, come on. Now that we understand what we're doing. Come on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which one is this one? There you go.
Okay.
We're figuring this out together.
All right, 3, 2, perfect.
Yeah, let's do one more, have Jay take a picture of the person and we'll talk. So this way, everybody can sit back down.
All right, 3, 2, perfect.
So the second superintendent purchase prize was awarded to Liliana Yohe. Her investigation question was, how do windows serve as portals between two spaces? Through Lily's exploration, she has discovered that windows represent a duality of both a portal and a barrier. Lily aimed to convey that through artwork depicting windows that both connect and separate us. Her investigation concluded with stained glass, inspired by Johannes Vermeer, that she personalized while experimenting with a stained glass look. Lily will be attending the new school, Parsons, in the fall and majoring in fashion design. She's not with us tonight, but she hopefully will watch this on the internet.
It's worth clapping.
And then Jay Riley. This year's Windsor High School Purchase Prize, selected by Dr. Breon Parker, goes to Jay Riley for her oil painting titled Waterfall, which we saw here. Jay's AP Studio investigation focused on how does cultural bereavement impact identity. Jay's artwork represents their life from a young age, moving from Thailand to America, and the feelings it has brought since. Waterfall depicts disassociation between two worlds, tripping over language barriers and struggling through this grief in a way they've only been able to explore through art. Jay will be attending University of Hartford in the fall, majoring in studio arts. Congratulations.
We go to her. We go to the art. We'll come to you.
Congratulations, Jeff. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Are we going to University of Hartford together?
That's a great school. Some legends have come from that school.
Some famous alum, you know?
Yeah.
Future president of the National School Board.
That's right.
You're hard.
We have Mr. Fleeting here that would like to talk about Jay's work on behalf of Dr. Parker.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. Parker couldn't be here today, but he sent this message for you. While all the pieces were incredible by our students, Jay not only intrigued my eye, but my spirit. Order gave the notion of a journey that was and is tough, but still going forward with growth and beauty along the way. The textures and connections of the canvas pieces were the voices of reflection and the newfound anticipation of what is to come, a blueprint, if you will. I kept thinking of the phrase, leadership through art. These are the types of works that lead to deep meaning and open the door to concepts such as discovery, healing, hope, and so much more. Amazing job, well done. Can't wait to hang in the office. Congratulations.
I'll look to my left and right. Is any comments by board members? Hearing none, I'll just say I enjoyed myself going to the art show, and it's very difficult with all the works. It was like, I would like that one. No, I want to pick this one. I only can pick one? And Dr. Hill, being superintendent, gets to pick two. So I think, Leonard, I think in your day, you took two, but you were a rising star, so. And the art show itself is every year is wonderful, and not only to see the seniors and their works, but all of the students there. And I think hopefully some of the undergraduates, the younger 9th, 10th, and 11th, can look to what is going on. And I heard there was even a trip with one of these pictures. There was a trip to Washington Park, so I know there were a couple pictures from the park that were beautiful, and my wife, being from Windsor, wanted me to pick several, but I said, no, I just get to pick it. And it's also great to know the different other organizations, the arts clubs and the art staff themselves who sponsor pictures there to be selected with scholarships as well. And I know we have a number of students going to University of Hartford for art, as well as including Jay. But again, thank you so much for what the art department does. You know, we have the art and music programs that are just always outstanding. So again, thank you, and thank you to the students, and good luck in your next adventure next year. Do well. Yeah, you can feel like you don't have to stay for the rest of the business meeting here, so.
Yeah.
Thank you. Enjoy the summer. The next item on the agenda is 2B, announcement of the Windsor Educator of the Year, Eleanor Lloyd, and the Para-Educator of the Year, Danielle Franklin. Looking to Ms. Batchelder.
Thank you. So like we do every year, we went through a review process at the building level, and then the building level selections came to district level, where we had a vigorous interview panel and process. So I am thrilled to announce our Para-Educator of the Year, Danielle Franklin, for 2025-2026. We always bring our educator and para-educator of the year to our September board meeting, so I will hold right now from reading all the bios, since everyone has it in front of them, when they are actually here to listen. But congratulations to Danielle Franklin, Pequannock School Para-Educator of the Year. And next, our Teacher of the Year is Eleanor Lloyd from John F. Kennedy School. And I promised Jay Mahako I will also add Pequannock. She's at JFK 4 days a week in Pequannock 1. And Principal Mahako always likes to try to make sure he has everything, all the educators and paraeducators of the year. So again, this was an exciting one. This year, the committee was in full agreement, and we just loved having a specials teacher win it, because that's we don't normally get that. So I'm very excited to hear her speak at convocation and also to bring her back in front of everyone come September.
Any questions or comments? You know, Tracy, not to put you on the spot, but you probably go to the wonderful JFK art show each year, especially
do.
having a fifth grader.
Well, not only the art show, but yes, Ms. Lloyd is a diamond in the rough. She just exudes positivity, and her lessons are really geared to help the kids find something they're passionate about in art through exploration. And again, she's just, whether she's in the classroom or in the pickup line for parent pickup, because she does pick up and drop off, she's just the most welcoming person. So we have a phenomenal teacher in her, and I couldn't agree more with your assessment. So thrilled for Ms. Lloyd.
Anyone else? Thank you. The next item is another recognition. Warisha Khan, our current Board of Education representative. If you want to come up, we can do a picture. Everybody else probably. I don't know, you're going to be far away from Chloe next year. What's going to
Right in
happen?
front. Can you get right in front of the art? Can you get back? All right, what do we do? What we go to the front?
Oh, they're saying they're coming out. All right, I guess we're going around.
Right, beautiful people. 3, 2. Perfect.
So it's kind of many colors.
Other duties and responsibilities.
Warisha, obviously, you don't have any schoolwork to be doing after this evening.
No
but
excuses.
It's up to you what part of this you want. I think, thank you so much for attending after school is over. I don't know if you'd like to say anything about your experience here or anything you'd like to say, and then we get to say how wonderful you are after you do.
I really enjoyed having this opportunity to be here, and I think it's like helped me grow as a person. I'm not really good at public speaking, but when Dr. Parker chose me and him had like a discussion about this, and I would practice in his office for all my meetings, and I would go around the school and get information. And I'm really glad I did, because I got to know more about what was going on at my school, and I got to share that here with everyone's like families and all the board members, and I'm glad I had that opportunity. It was nice.
Thank you so much. And anybody else like to go? Ms. Taylor, we'll let you go first.
I'm Auntie. I'm so proud of you. What people don't know is that public speaking does frighten you. And the fact that you were being able to do it and nobody was able to notice how nervous you were and how amazing just now, how good you did. And you're not overthinking it. You've just blossomed in front of us. I'm so proud of you. I just want you to know that. She's not going far, she's going to U-Heart, but still, she's my baby. But I'm just so proud, because sometimes we gotta come out of our comfort zone to build us up, and you could have declined it, but you didn't. And shout out to Dr. Parker to take the time to mentor you and give you that extra time and to practice, because all of us, none of us are public speakers, but we get up here and do this. But at your age, it's really great to see you blossom. So I'm very proud of you as a board member and as your auntie.
Anyone else? Mr. Lockhart?
Just want to say congratulations to you, and as a future Hawk, your future is very, very bright. But there's some similarities to a former board member as well, and it was good to see the lineage and the legacy that you carried on, and you did very, very well. And I think we felt the passion and the humbleness of the opportunity, and you taking the moment. So. This is not saying goodbye, but see you later. And we're also going to say do well, because we know Windsor Public Schools prepared you for your next chapter.
Future attorney right there.
Anyone else? Mr. Panos?
Yes, I appreciated your reports. They were much better than the reports by our board representatives here, but we'll forgive them for this, I think. So I wish you the best of luck in your future career. Thank you.
Anyone else? I want to say I enjoyed your time here, but I also enjoyed taking you and a couple of other students to Cabe on the Hill. And you got pretty comfortable sitting in your mom's seat when I took your picture. But I don't know, Ayana, she also went over to the Senate side, and she looked pretty comfortable over there as well.
See it in her. Absolutely.
So thanks again for your service. We appreciate you.
I'll say.
Next item on the agenda is our audience to visitors, and so I'll defer to Ms. Daly.
Good evening. This is Robin Daly from the Superintendent's Office. If anyone from the public would like to address the board, you may do so in two ways. You may type your name, address, and comment into the Q&A feature in the Zoom application, or you may speak by clicking raise hand or dialing *9 within the Zoom application. When you are called on to speak, you will be given 3 minutes to state your name, address, and comment. Please do not place the call on speakerphone. No comments can be made against the employees of the school district or children outside of your own. No comments will be made by the board at this time.
Thank you. And just to let folks know that at the 2.5-minute mark, Ms. Taylor will raise a red card. And then at the 3-minute mark, she'll raise it and hold it there. And at that point, really conclude your remarks. For people who are online or can't see the red card online or on the phone, at the 3-minute mark, Ms. Taylor will interrupt to say your time is over. So we'll start again in the boardroom. Anybody in the boardroom that'd like to address the board? No one's rushing up. Anybody online or any questions in the queue?
There are attendees, but none have their hands raised, and there are no comments in the Q&A.
Okay. Without objection, I'll close audience to visitor. Audience to visitor is closed. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. And before we hear a motion, is there any items that folks want to be pulled?
Could you, yes, the financial report and, well, I don't know, well, let's call it the enrollment report too, is a related question.
So the financial report and enrollment report, and then you can read your first motion, Ms. Taylor.
Okay. I move the Board of Education approve consent agenda items 4C, food service report, and 4D, human resources report.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Abstentions? Do we know whether, I know Ms. Cantor is not online and Mr. Wollaston is not online at this time? Okay, motion carries 7-0-0. Is there another motion?
I move the Board of Education approve consent agenda items 4A, financial report, and 4B, enrollment report.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos to accept the financial report and the enrollment report. Mr. Panos, you have the floor.
Thank you. Ms. Batchelder, I just want to relate two things. The magnet school tuition, which had a balance 38%, 700,000, and the enrollment. I just want to look at. I was trying to relate the two. There seems to be a large amount here in the balance. I don't believe that this is normal. This is a bit high, $700,000. it's a good thing we had that, right? To be able to offset the deficits and benefits, for example, and especially, special ed, transportation, major maintenance. So I'm wondering if if we relate the number of magnet school students to this issue. And have we had such a decline in it, or a shift, or something like this? What would explain the fairly high amount left over here?
So the magnet school tuition, we did not know. It was up for, on the legislative block this term, and it got approved. Last year, they gave a special grant to all school districts that receive many magnet school tuitions, and then it was on the docket for this legislative period. So what they did is, at least until 2027, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Lockhart, they are capping the tuition amount at 58%. So we did not know that when we built our budget last year, and we didn't know that when we built our budget for next year. So we are only paying the 58% of 100% of the cost. So that is why that is such a big number. And we will, so now we have that money actually for next year, 25, 26 also. I just want to caution though, if we ever, if that goes back to 100%, that's a big dollar amount that we would have to put back into our budget. So I'm sure that'll be a discussion when we do budget next year.
So there was very recent legislation to this effect?
Yep. Yeah, we talked about it a few different times. Yeah,
Yep.
it was on the docket this term.
Okay, thank you. Explains it.
Any other questions?
No, it looks like we're right down to the wire here, $3,000. You call it 0%. That's pretty close.
Yeah.
Are we going to stay there, or do we have to break out the credit cards up here?
No, we're not breaking out any credit cards. I just, the intent, like I said, was just to put as much money into the insurance fund as possible, to help all the claims that have been coming through, and hopefully we don't see that next year.
Right. Thank you very much.
So the 3,886 figure, you think we're going to be pretty close to that?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. President?
Yes.
So when we go through the budget process, and that's me being very assumptive that I'm being reelected, when we go through the budget process, we got to make sure that we highlight that in the budget book, that this was legislation done by the CGA to help bring relief to the magnet schools, to help fund the magnet schools, because they were always operating in such a huge deficit. So that's why that legislation came about, and it provided relief to all the sending districts. But to Ms. Batchelder's point, at some point, the CGA can turn around and take that funding away, and then that full funding can fall back on the sending district, and then that will be a huge bump in the budget. So we have to make sure that we highlight that in a huge footnote with the understanding, with a link to the legislation, so that when people see the budget year over year, they'll see why there was such a drop during those 2 years. And if the CGA then takes that funding away, we'll understand why that funding is going back up. So we have to be very careful to document.
Thank you.
Could you,
Mr. Panos?
could you please talk in full words? CGA?
I am so sorry, Mr. Panos, the Connecticut General Assembly.
Oh, all right. So those of you who are real close to with politicians, you know all the lingo, but us commoners, we're not down there. When you reach the national level, like you can throw around those terms, but
I don't know, Mr. Panos. One year, I had you come along with our tour of the Capitol, and so we thought you would have picked up some of that lingo.
I was happy like a kid in the candy store to be hanging with the big boys.
I think we need a little English teaching here somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a motion to accept 4A and 4B. Motion was made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstention. I believe motion carries 700.
But I'm not sure if he is able to be part of this motion.
I'm going to count it as 700 unless he chimes in. Okay, we're going to move right along. Next item is approval of minutes. Is there either of those minutes that need to be pulled?
No.
Seeing and hearing none, is there a motion?
Mr. President, I'm sorry.
Mr. Lockhart?
Move the Board of Education approve the minutes of May 20th, 2025, regular meeting, and May 28th, 2025, Policy Committee meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Mr. Lockhart, seconded by Mr. Panos. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstention, motion carries 700. Next item on the agenda is the Board of Education, and first with the President's report. As mentioned earlier, I picked out a piece of art from the high school art show. I attended the show that evening on May 21st, and again, so proud of our students, not only the students who are winning awards, but all of our art students. Very impressed. I attended the Honor Cord in the Senior Scholarship Program at Windsor High School on May 29th. We have very generous organizations and individuals and families that support our students. And it's always great to see some new sponsors coming in and putting their money in. But the concept of it takes a village to see so many of the organizations like Kiwanis and Lions and Rotary donating as much to as many students as there. It's just it's very heartwarming and how important community service organizations are, as well as a lot of the programs that exist alongside Windsor sports as our students go through, whether it's 095 or baseball and soccer organizations. So again, thank you to the community, and it's wonderful to have so many students doing so well as seen that evening. I also attended the JFK presentation and ceremony for the new pollinator gardens. I saw Ms. Zotter there as well. It was quite impressive, and we also got to see a little bit of the program that we had earlier on their recycling program, and one of the kids demonstrated how they line up, and I think the fifth graders lead this group, and making sure the third and fourth graders put the right food scraps in the right places, and the other items, the liquids and everything else. And so, again, it was great to see that, and a shout out to the Kiwanis Club as well, who really helped with the program. I think they built a little shed in the garden area, and they were on hand as well for the presentation, and to see Dr. Hill and so many of the cabinet members there, it was great. Special thanks to Dr. Parker, who's not here tonight, for his walkthrough with Windsor High School on June 6th for the 1975 Windsor High School graduating class. They had their 50th reunion the next evening, but Dr. Parker's been doing this for the last year, and it's great to see people come in. Obviously, there's a lot of folks who do live in town, but it's great to see people who haven't been to the school or haven't lived in Windsor, and there were a lot of oohs and ahs of what was there. And I think some of them spending probably too much time in Jeff Gooden's TV production, because I'm sure back then there weren't TV morning announcements. But again, shout out to Dr. Parker for doing that. And we had our resident photographer there, who's Dr. Mallory, taking pictures. And my wife was a 75 grad, so I decided to tag along. I attended the eighth grade promotion ceremony. Unfortunately, I had a doctor's appointment, only could stay for one part of it. Mr. Panos was there for that as well. And great to see our students and families. It was a ticketed event, and so I don't know. I think there was a black market for tickets. I saw online for people asking for tickets, but again, great to see our families come out to support our students. And June 10th, Windsor High School graduation at the Bushnell was again very successful. I've been doing it for several years now, being able to be on stage and shaking hands with our students, and great to see families there and board members there and some of the town council as well, our mayor. I think she got the biggest ovation. So that is my report, and any questions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, I'll move on. At the end of the meeting where we have announcements, if somebody wants to talk about their school, we decided not to add that because there aren't things going on for people to prepare. But at the end, when anybody has announcements that they have, if they want to say something about their school, feel free to chime in at that point. The next item we have is the Pequannock partial roof replacement approval or acceptance of the completed project. State project number 1640096RR. And I'll look to Ms. Batchelder.
Thank you. So, I don't know, you probably remember a meeting or two ago, I came before you to ask to close out the Clover roof project. This is the same type of request. However, this project never got closed out back in 2008. It predates me, Carlos, a lot of people at the town, and we only realized it when we tried to go forth and when I submitted the grant application for the Pequannock roof upgrade that we wanted to do this summer. We've been dealing with the state trying to get all of the records from back in 2008. And this is one of the requirements that is needed in order for me to just apply, which the plan is for me to apply between the window of July 1st through July 10th. Hopefully they don't kick it back again. We've tried 3 times now. But we've been having difficulty getting the documentation back from 2008, but this one motion is a requirement, so I want to at least do my part and get the board side of everything done.
And after that, are we going to apply to the state for a grant to do that work? Is that work necessary?
Which, the work for Pequannock?
Yeah.
Yes, that roof has become at its maximum life expectancy. We absolutely need to do that work. We can't do it this summer, it's too late, but the plan is to hopefully get approved by the state and be able to go out to bid and then start next summer.
Okay, questions by board members?
Oh.
People understand? Mr. Panos?
I guess I missed the argument here. But if you somehow, let's say, but we just had an open replacement project, and that denies you to go for another one, or?
Yes.
Why?
You can't have more than one project open at the same time for the same building. So this Pequannock roof replacement back in 2008 never got closed out. It was only a portion of the roof at that point. Even though we're not touching that portion of that side of the roof for this new one, they still won't allow it because it's the same building.
And we just kind of missed it. Is that the idea since 2008 or what?
I don't know what happened because I wasn't here. Someone didn't do something. That's all. That's really all I can say. The town received all the money that they put out, but it never actually got officially closed out by the Board of Education. Because
We
even
now
though
have
the.
a fail-safe, sorry,
Yeah,
Mr. Pettis.
that's basically what I'm asking. I mean, what is the project? They do the work. I think it's presumed that they would inform us.
Yep,
And that we would,
and trust me,
yeah.
we do that now. There's a
Okay.
lot of discussion. And I work with the town very closely on this, but, it was back when I was not here. Carlos, I mean, none of the people were here. Like, we can't even ask, like, on the town side, like, what happened?
Yeah, we're going to be closing out the OE here in a while, right? This is the
So that was
Oliver
not
Ellsworth.
any state assistance.
No, oh, I see.
So it's only when we're asking for grant funding for projects like, such as roof replacements, HVAC, if they qualify for submission for those kinds of grants.
I see, and okay, so there was no grant, I see, yeah, for the Oliver Ellsworth, that was all on us.
Yeah, that was 100% on Town of Windsor funds, between bonding and whatever
okay.
else, I don't know what they did.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Lockhart?
I don't even know where to begin with this particular topic. This was an '08. I'm not sure why this did not come before the board. I'm fully understanding that this was a state project that was not closed out, and this current board is now going to be responsible for closing that project out. I think I have some reservations there, but at the same time, we have to do what we need to do to close it out per state law. So I totally understand that. I think this is highlights that we need to maintain a presence with the CIP process, the Public Building Commission, to make sure any and all permits and inspections are closed out, whether it's internal work through the town or state-funded work. It even fires me up even more to be more vigilant about these projects and to make sure that at a minimum, we should be recommending that we have a seat at the table, not speaking when spoken to, not off to the side, but at a minimum, having an ex officio seat on the PBC where we know what's going on within these town buildings. This is a town building, and the Board of Ed is the one being held responsible for closing out a project on a town building. So there's a lot of different things and nuances that we need to work through there. I'm not sure who was on the board in 2008, how everything was done through the business manager. We don't know. But at the end of the day, if there's just one project that's not signed off, I shudder to ask, are there any other projects, whether internally through the town or through the state grants, that are not signed off? And if you hadn't gone looking for a grant, we would probably never known about this. I think that's a fair statement. So I just ask this board, as we finish our term, and any future boards, that we take a huge interest in our buildings. Yes, we are the tenant, but at the end of the day, we are maintaining these buildings. We're seeking the funding. We're using our human capital to make sure and assisting with the town of the upkeep of these buildings. But yet we're being held responsible because of state statute. So, Ms. Batchelder, thank you very much for bringing this to our attention. I will, with reservation, approve this motion with the understanding that we are paying for the ills of someone 17 years ago that didn't do their job, if we're going to just be very candid about it. But we cannot allow this type of stuff to move on any further. And, Mr. President, I would ask that you work with, through Dr. Hill, to make sure that we check any and all projects that we got going on in consultation with the Public Building Commission, to make sure if there's anything that we got outstanding that this board is responsible for and that we need to provide authority and vote for, that be put before us so that we can clean up the docket. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor?
Yeah, thank you. I was going to ask for the same thing, a full audit. I'll tell you right now, I found out through my window company that the town never closed out something on my house. So I immediately text people, you know, I text him and the mayor, and I say, is this a thing? So that was 5 years ago. So I say that to say a full audit, because things like this, we're like approving something we had nothing to do with, and that is, for me, doesn't sit well with me, because I have no idea. Further, it happened so long ago, now doggone it's time to get a new one. But I do think that sometimes things like this happen so that it sheds light on other things that, you know, that are going on. So I appreciate it. And yeah, I would suggest that we do a full audit of any projects to make sure things are buttoned up, because that's crazy.
So if I may, so we actually, a year and a half ago, I believe, maybe 2 years ago, actually, when everything started with Oliver Ellsworth, a new fire chief came on, Carlos Rosario came on, and we pulled every permit, and there were a ton that were not closed, but we've been working, so we have been doing that audit, and we've used our own money under the general fund to close stuff, to fix stuff, but just to get it done, closed, and then, you know, put to bed in case. So that has already happening. And myself and Carlos get the PBC minutes now, which we never received prior to a year ago. So we see everything that's going on. But Carlos also is at every PBC, and if he can't attend, then the Nate sector represents us at the Board of Ed, and obviously I would go if no one else could, so.
Thank you. Mr. Lockhart?
Yeah, I can attest to that. I do go to these PVC meetings, and I do speak often. I also want to make sure that we audit, if we can find out through the state, if we can make an inquiry, if there's any projects within the town of Windsor for Windsor Public Schools, are there any open projects that are open from their perspective? And then they can give us that list, and then we can go curate through that list as well. We ask, so look at it from both sides, because we're going to be looking for state funding. We're about to go down a very bold and very, very proactive path of really, really refreshing our buildings and really asking the state to help, you know, provide us new buildings. And we want to make sure that we have a clean slate when we go to make these asks and not have things like this give us any hiccups. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. So is there going to be a motion, Ms. Taylor?
I move that the Board of Education approve the project as completed and accept the Pequannock School partial roof replacement project, state project number 164-0096RR, for public school purposes.
Is there a second?
Second that motion.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos to close out the project, state project number 164-0096RR, the partial roof replacement at Pequannock School. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstention, motions carry 7-0-0. And as to that too, I know the comprehensive improvement plan meetings have often been, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Lockhart, on Tuesdays or dates that we can't attend. So yes, it's great that Carlos may be able to attend those, but I think we do need to speak to our town brothers and sisters on the council about whether or not that's possible to change. I know we also would be good for us to have periodic updates from you or Carlos about what's going on with the CIP, because often when we look at the list of the CIP, there's so many that are school-related. Thank you. Next item, we have item 6C, discussion of possible action to extend the current hybrid format for the Board of Education. I guess we can start off with a motion and then discussion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I move to extend the current hybrid meeting format for 2025-2026 school year for board members and the public for regular board meetings, including special meetings, and leaving Finance Committee as hybrid and policy curriculum and long-range planning committee meetings as virtual. Executive committee meetings would be decided by the Board of Education president at the time.
Is there a second?
A second.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor regarding the hybrid format for Board of Education meetings. And if you'd like to speak to that about, I believe it's really having for next school year the same format that we've had the last couple of years, and we've extended this a couple times already.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. President. So, on behalf of, I'm speaking for myself, but definitely for the conversations we've had with my caucus, is that, being on the board during COVID, that was interesting. But what we realized is we were meeting families and people where they're at, even ourselves. My travel schedule, a bunch of us, illnesses, children being sick, so on and so forth. It just makes sense to continue what we've been doing. It works when technology is good to us. I know Mr. Williston has been on and then off again. I think he's given up at this point, but seeing that we're good to go. But it lends to where we are right now, as a society with technology. If we have technology to use it, I can say that, personally, it has benefited me to be on a work trip and still be able to tune in. As I said, I think all of us have, one time or another, had to be remote, maybe except for Leonard. But it is helpful when you're thinking, and David, meeting people where they're at, especially our families. You think about how late some of these meetings are, but you can tune in now via Zoom or, online and be able to still be kept abreast of what's going on. For me, I fully support the motion.
Thank you. Any other folks to speak? Mr. Halleck, I saw, and then Mr. Panos.
Thank you, Mr. President. I support the motion. I don't have a problem at all with the motion. I know we've addressed this the last couple of years, but we don't have a policy on it yet. I think that's something that we should look into, possibly sending it to the policy committee so that we can get a policy in place so that we don't have to go forward with this every single year as far as renewing it. And that concludes my remarks.
Thank you. Mr. Panos.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, of course, it was proposed about 4 years ago by a certain number of members and denied vociferously by certain members sitting to my right. And so the policy would have been essentially there since we'd been practicing it for 2 years. But, just not to be too picky. But anyway, I do agree with this, and I agree with Mr. Halleck that we ought not be doing this from year to year. It looks to me like we ought to properly have a policy on it. I would also like to, have all committee meetings, including the executive committee meetings. They're public too, and they're available to the public, so they probably ought to be, on Zoom and recorded too. So I think this is a good thing to do for now, but we have to think about this in the future more seriously. Thank you.
Mr. Lockhart.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I believe, yes, I was one of those that was very, very loud on this particular topic. I was very loud about the fact that I strongly believe we should be in our seats, but I have softened my heart on the stance, understanding the benefits of being virtual. So I do understand that, but I believe we stated 2 points. One, that it was still something that the state of Connecticut was allowing the CGA as well as all of the entities within the state to conduct their meetings. So we will be in line with the state. And number two, we did not want to create an environment where everybody or someone would have the opportunity to be virtual all the time. And I just want to make sure for the record, we state that was one of our viewpoints of making sure that if we're going to stay down this path, that we want, the public wants to actually see us in our seats from time to time, and did not want to create an opportunity where someone can be always remote somewhere and participate in the process. So just to set the record straight, but yes, I believe we're all in agreement to move this, and it seems like this is becoming the norm rather than the exception. So I do believe this is something that will probably come before policy and probably get some broad agreement in the near future, to Mr. Panos's point and Mr. Halleck's point.
And Mr. Panos?
Yeah, just another, this should be all contingent on the technology that we have, because there are times, you know, people pointed out that even for the person who's remote, sometimes it's very difficult to hear, and it's very difficult to communicate. I don't know what is the setup here. I believe the town side has something which is clearer. They don't normally have these problems. So, you know, I can't speak to the particular reason for it. But in point of fact, people who've been watching the meetings itself have told me that sometimes when things just cut out, even they just watching it live. So, you know, there are some issues that probably need to be looked at, and I think Dr. Hill mentioned something about that too. Yep. But I will point out that I will correct one thing. The person that we were referring to that was going to be that you thought was going to be away all the time was not going to be away all the time. It was just a few months at a time, and you know, we don't. It is not our business, of course, to go around and supervise every building. So, you know, technology being what it is, people can be away and can monitor things. There is such a thing as email. You know, they can communicate with principals, with various people, and follow things. And so the work is so. You know, it was obvious that this was, you know, you know, like a directed move. So I'll just leave it at that. Yes, he's gonna talk back and forth.
Mr. Lockhart?
Yes, I just want to set the record straight that I'm not passive-aggressive. If I want to talk about somebody, I will address them by their name. So respectfully, when I stated that anyone, I was very broad in my comments about anyone in future boards having the opportunity to be remote. Under no circumstance did I mention or think about any individual. Me and that individual that you are speaking of, sir, we are on good terms, and he knows my position on it, and I understand his position, and that has been a done matter with me. That does not move or how I move with any votes that I do at this table. I'm a firm believer everyone should be in their seat. I probably was one of the only people that thought that. I was in my seat during the entire pandemic. People thought I was crazy, but I was just being principled on the matter. So that's just who I am. I am a flawed person. People are not going to agree with me, but on this point, I was speaking in general and not a particular individual.
And I think when we started looking back a couple of years ago when this came up, we looked at, there weren't that many out there that were doing things, and we looked at whether you could get only 2 times that you couldn't make a meeting, or did you have to state a reason for it being either medical or work and things. We have progressed, and I bet you the majority probably of districts now have policies, so we really can throw it to the policy committee. I'm looking at James and Leonard on 2 members at least now, between now and till the end of October, will be part of that policy committee, charged with not just, I think Sally back then was pulling things for us, but I think we have 3 members who can divide that out between other districts to look at, to Windsorize this, to say what is really makes sense for us, because there's probably a lot of good models out there at this time. So, and we could also, Leonard, with your CAPE hat, we can ask the policy folks there too to pull things for us. So, or have people on my chair calls. And in fact, I think I have one tomorrow.
I think there's agreement on both sides.
Yes. Okay. So I will refer it to policy.
Right,
But we'll
it
still
has to be emphasized that you know, one of the negatives of it is that many times it's difficult to communicate, and so the equipment has to, whether it's the setup or whatever it is, I don't know what it is, but it is, you know, having been, you know, occasionally on hybrid away, you know, it's amazing you can do anything, I suppose, from, you know, foreign countries, but you can't, but it still doesn't.
It's a simple fix, and I think that working with the tech team, Mr. President, I think they need to have just they need to have microphones in strategic area. Right now, that microphone is supposed to be, in theory, picking up the whole room. It's not. If you notice at Town Hall, they have microphones strategically placed above the dais and have microphones strategically placed above where the public speak. And I think if we do that, that will be a huge step in the right direction.
Would extra video be of value too, to be able to see the whole room?
We got 4 PTZs cameras in here.
To see, to see, sometimes all you see when you're, at home, all you see.
Oh, so then what we would probably have to do is hire a tech person like we do, like, for example, Gary Dogowitz, when at the town hall, he's in there controlling the cameras and doing this.
Oh, I see.
So if we have a person in here that can actually run these PTZs, have the cameras here, I'm sorry, a pan tilt zoom camera. So,
what?
So, and then if we're gonna spend some more money, Paul, which I don't mind doing.
That's money. Oh, it would take it away from.
Here so that the general public can see what we're talking about instead of turning around.
Start asking
looking
the town-
at the
your town
screen, for
committee.
example.
We'll take it from all the cachets if we have this.
We
I
have
will
three-
pull out
we
my
have
credit
3,000 left over.
Yes, a lot more.
Ms. Taylor?
Go ahead.
This is on this topic. So since we've been sitting here, someone told me that they're on Zoom, they can't hear us. So it adds to it. I have been one of those people who travel quite a bit for work. That's what you see right there is what we see. It's awful. We can't see anything when you're remote. So if anything, that encourages you to come on in if you're able to. But that's the vision that we see, and so we cannot see anything besides people's backs. So it's difficult. So if you can't hear them, people, and you can't see their lips, it's very difficult to communicate. What is he doing?
Some
I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe I should change the
For
motion
maintenance?
to add run the cost of making sure that we're outfitted like the town hall, because it's beautiful that we have our new board room. I was here when we did the ribbon cutting. It's gorgeous. But we don't have the same amount of technology. When that air kicks on, people can't hear in the room. And these microphones aren't hot for the room. We're talking to the audience like we're having a conversation, by the lockers, and it's inappropriate. Like, I feel like the room isn't mic'd for the viewing in-person audience as well. I could go on and on, but that wasn't my motion. So I guess maybe we should kick it to policy.
Dr. Haiti, you wanted to chime in on this?
We had our IT department look into what it would cost, and we don't have a final figure yet, but I can tell you it is going to cost a lot of money to get the same level of technology that will allow you to have a seamless Zoom meeting. So,
What do you say, Paul?
I think that's money well spent. Now, other things?
where are we going to get it from? That's a
I think
question.
that is money well spent. That doesn't mean we go up millions and millions of dollars just for anything. It's there for no reason.
Whatever it takes, right? Isn't that what you said, Paul? Whatever.
I don't mind spending money as long as we do it wisely, you see. That's it, but not unwisely.
You're quoting the legend I hear, huh?
Okay, we have, hopefully that's the end of the discussion. We do have a motion to approve for now the current policy on meeting formats. Motion was made by Ms. Taylor, by Mr. Panos. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstention, motion carries 7-0-0. And I will let Mr. Wollaston know, who's probably not online or can't hear because of the technology, this is now in his lap. Next item is the superintendent's report. Dr. Haiti.
All right, so some exciting news. So on Tuesday, as we all know, June 10th, we graduated 263 seniors. That made up the class of 2025, and for the first time in recent memory, we had two outstanding students that were our co-valedictorians, Amanda Ina and Samuel Garcia. Amanda will be attending Boston University in the fall, majoring in biology, and Sam will be attending the University of Connecticut, majoring in biomedical engineering. And I wanted to take a minute. I had to put this data together really quickly because I feel like we don't talk enough about the great things that we're doing in Windsor. So I took the liberty, since I'm here tonight, to pull some data. So out of our 263 seniors that we graduated this year, we had 196, which is 75% of the senior class, apply and get accepted to either 2 or 4 year colleges. So that is actually the national average for any school district is 62%. So we're way above the national average when it comes to our seniors getting accepted and attending colleges. So I just wanted to put that out there in the So 75% 2 or 4 year colleges, 16% technical or trade, 8% military, and 12% workforce. And going back to the colleges, for those who say our kids don't go to top colleges, I pulled every single college that our kids got accepted to, and I'm not going to sit here and read all of them, but I'm going to tell you that I categorized them into tiers, and we've got every single tier from nationally prestigious colleges, highly selective research, national research universities. So we've got Boston University, University of Miami, Michigan State University, Howard, North Carolina. So all of these are nationally, tier 1, top tier, nationally prestigious universities. We've got regionally recognized institutions, Quinnipiac, University of Rhode Island, Springfield, University of Hartford, New Haven, St. Joe's. So we've got, our kids are going everywhere. And, I worked in other states and other high schools, and I know that there are some districts that require students to apply to certain universities so that they can say our kids got accepted. If we do that, like our kids can get accepted to any university that I apply to, I think, I talked to some of the seniors, our valedictorian, some of them choose to go to universities that they get full ride scholarships, which just makes sense. Not that they cannot get into Ivy Leagues, that they can get to whatever they want to get to. I think we need to really stay on that narrative because this is happening and our kids are very well prepared to attend universities that they desire. All right, so off my books. Thank you to all our community scholarship partners. Our graduating senior class, again, received over $148,900 in scholarships at their senior scholarship and award night on May 29th. Also, some happy news. We have Ms. Kristen Bloom. She has been officially appointed as a permanent assistant principal for Our Windsor Public Schools Summer Food Program will run from June 18th to August 13th, Monday through Friday, rain or shine. Will be closed on July 4th at the following location. Charlton Park at 38 Skitchwag Street. Okay. From 11:30 to 12:15. And at John Fitch Park, which is at 156 Bloomfield Ave, from 12 to 12:45. Due to changes in federal regulations for the summer food program, the kids have to be present to be eligible for a meal. No parent or guardian can pick up is permitted, and the child must actually consume the meal on site. Grab and goes are not allowed, are no longer permitted. Each child 18 or under is eligible for 1 lunch per day. And the menu is posted on our district website. Another exciting news, very close and dear to my heart, our mobile classroom is a big hit and it's been on the run. Wonderful to see your dream become a reality and then see the impact. So we've been out and about and we have 4 exciting experiences coming up tomorrow. We're going to be at the main library branch from 10:30 to 12:30 and from 3 to 5. And our theme tomorrow is AI and technology and for summer tips for summers for kids and parents. So parents can join us. We will give some tips and tricks on how they can use AI and technology over the summer to make sure that students are not getting behind in summer slide. We're combating summer slide. On June 19th, we have a wonderful partnership with the town. We were just there, Dr. Mallory and I today, creating more partnerships and collaboration with the town so that we can do things together. We're joining on the Juneteenth celebration with Freedom on Wheels. So we will be running some Juneteenth activities from 2 to 7 on June 19th at the center of town. On June 24th, we have our Ready, Set, Go Summer Literacy Launch #2. We did our first launch last week, and it was such a huge success. Our second launch is on June 24th from 10 to 12. We'll also be at the public library. And our last one for June will be on June 26th, which is Mobile Masterpieces Family Art Night. So we're going to have a family art night. Families can come out with their kids and can enjoy a paint night. We will also be in front of the public library from 5 to 8. The Windsor Public School reading program, Color Our World, is underway for students in all schools. Families should visit our district website for more information and for our book lists. We finished the year with all district administrators at our annual end-of-year leadership retreat like we do every year. This year, again, we were at the Firehouse on Bloomfield Ave, and we do want to give a special thanks to Mr. Paul Goldberg at the Firehouse for all his help and time in making our leadership retreat possible. The first day of school for our students for 25-26 is on Monday, August 25. And families are reminded to please update their returning students' information in Power School Parent Portal. Returning student registration for 25-26. There is a banner on our district website. Families can just click on the banner and it will take them directly to the parent portal to update. We would like to give a thank you to Henry Howard, Howard Marsh, and Jamil Ahmed from WinTV, and Robin Daly, Lexi Kruger, our stenographer, for their expertise with our Zoom meetings, as well as Kevin Moriarty and Damon Slocum, I killed his name, for their assistant at all our board meetings this year. Thank you so much. Tonight is our last board meeting for the 24-25 school year, and our next board meeting for the 25-26 school year is on September 16th at 7 p.m. here in the boardroom. So that concludes the superintendent report. The superintendent was going to call on me to share our 5-year strategic operating plan. So I'm going to just, if you can take one and pass it down.
And was there a date for the back-to-school
Block party,
block party? I think the 21st,
August 21st,
and that's at Windsor High School?
Windsor High School.
Thank you.
Also, I have one piece of announcement for our superintendent report. Mr. Rob Fleeting has been officially appointed as an assistant principal for Windsor High School. So tonight, I'm proud to share this document that you have in front of you. It's a 25 through 30 5-year strategic operating plan. This is a living document that was created with deep collaboration with our educators, our leaders, and a lot of our community partners. This plan is more than a roadmap. It is a reflection of our shared values and our collective vision for what Windsor Public School can be and can become. This was really built to provide transparency and direction for, as we work to realize what we feel like it is such a bold and a vision that we have no doubt in our leadership team that we will accomplish. So our vision, my vision that I've been publicly talking about, Dr. Hill's vision, is to really make Windsor nationally and internationally recognized for its educational excellence, equity, and innovation, and to make sure that our students that we graduate are recognized for their critical thinking skills and their civic leadership. This plan has been in the works since I stepped into my position in 2022, really. And it is really grounded in years of data and district-wide initiatives. We reflected a lot on what we're currently doing in the district. We examined practices, systems, processes that we have already happening in the system. We looked at what is successfully being done, and we found that we have some success in pockets in different schools. So we used all of these pockets to build on and create a strategic framework that now sets the expectation for how we expect our educators and our leaders to run every day. So for our early adopters, and those are like our teachers, our leaders, who've piloted a lot of different things, like our instructional core wheel, who've taken it and ran with it and started doing all the practices, this plan is going to feel very familiar. And that is the one thing that we had in mind when we developed this plan. We did not want to create something new. We did not want to add something else to our teachers' plate or our leaders' plate. We just wanted to highlight the practices that are working for us in Windsor and saying, okay, these work. We've tried them for a few years in different classes, different schools, and they work. So now this is going to become the framework that all of us are expected to follow. As you look through the plan, you're going to see that we've decided to highlight 3 strategic priorities. And, you know, Dr. Hill has always been talking about his 2 things are academics and culture. So it's the same thing. Priority 1 is academics. Priority 2 is culture. We've also added a 3rd priority, which is operational excellence. And this is something that we've always done. This is the backbone of the district, our operations. We just wanted to put it here so that it provides transparency and it holds everybody accountable. So no matter what your position is in the district, this document has something for you to hold you accountable to high expectations. Each domain contains clear goals, measurable outcomes, and bold commitments, from expanding our dual enrollment program to enhancing SEL practices, to increasing our staff diversity and ensuring fiscal transparencies. All of these are goals that you will see in this document. So this is a blueprint that we will use moving forward to align our work and guide our investments as a district and stay focused on the outcomes that our students deserve. It is ambitious by design, and I think, and it's just from comments that, you know, we've had in different like curriculum committees and things, from now on, you will see something that is very common in everything that is produced under, you know, Dr. Hill's leadership, under my leadership, under my departments, is that we will be producing very, very ambitious goals, because we feel like first of all, we have what it takes when we talk about human capital or financial and fiscal resources. We have what it takes to achieve these ambitious dreams and goals for our kids here in Windsor. So this is our strategic plan at a glance. Any questions?
Questions for Dr. Haiti on the strategic plan or anything else she talked about prior to that?
I just have a quick question.
Ms. Otter?
So 2030, so we're 5 years out. Are there going to be, like at the end of every school year, will there be results shared with how we are trending in alignment to these goals?
Yes. So our school improvement plans are going to be aligned to this. And at the end of every, we usually do it at the beginning of the year in September, where we give an update from the previous year, and the update will be aligned to this.
Other questions? I think we may have questions down the road. This is a lot to digest.
Yeah.
But you may hear back from us in September.
Absolutely. So it's posted on our website. Again, this is a living document, and, you know, any good strategic plan should be a living document so that we can adjust as we go. But if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer along the way.
Okay. As that concludes your report, we can move on under the superintendent's item here, with a motion, Ms. Taylor, on the curriculum.
I move the Board of Education approve the civics and U.S. history curriculum as a second reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos, to accept the civics course and U.S. history curriculum as a second reading. Discussion, I'll start with the maker of the motion.
It's the bomb, approve it, but no, just kidding. It's amazing. The curriculum committee was blown away by the offerings. Then we had a really great discussion last meeting with the full board here. So I'm really, really excited about the new offerings. We always think of some, you all blow my mind, and then we give you another opportunity and you do something different, and this is really great and innovative, so I'm excited to bring this motion forward.
Questions or comments? Mr. Panos?
I had some questions. I don't know if you received
I did,
them.
yeah.
Or had a chance to.
I did. I got a full hour in on this, so thank you for the ample time to address the questions. But there weren't as many as I've had in the past, so it was, no, I'm
I'll have to correct that in the future.
Happening.
There really wasn't. There weren't.
Slipping, Paul.
I was able to identify 4 questions, happy to answer them. There were some other, I guess I would say, like statements or
Yep.
commentary in there. I'm just going to go right into the questions, and then we can go from there. So do all board members have the questions? Like, do you need me to read the question first or just respond?
I don't.
Okay. I'll be happy, and for the public, to read the questions. The first and second questions seemed related to me, so I answered them together. The first question was, can students with little historical knowledge be expected to correctly select the essential causal factors that explain subsequent historical developments? And then the supplemental sort of question with that was, for example, how can students of themselves do adequate research to explain the Cold War, Korean War, and the Vietnamese War? So the way I answered this question is, I went back to what I shared with the curriculum subcommittee back in April, and it's really understanding what curriculum is. Essentially, curriculum is going to be the what of what we're teaching, and not as much the how we're doing it. And doesn't answer this question directly, but it is sort of a precursor to where I'm going to go with some of the other answers, okay? So as far as this question is concerned, beyond that kind of fundamental definition of curriculum, we expect those teachers to teach students how to research. We're not just like setting students forth and saying, go research this thing, this topic. So we teach them how to research. And actually, since I had experience in the younger grades before I was in this position, and I have my own children in the district who are in elementary school, I am aware of research-related tasks that begin as early as first grade. And we tried to work research instruction in all the way from elementary up through the high school. I was just in an 8th grade data talk at the end of the year. The entire data talk was around a research project that students had to complete related to U.S. history. So we're not just dropping it in their laps and saying, here, research this. But why I started with that precursor is that our curriculum, or most curricula, are not going to reveal exactly how we're going about the day-to-day teaching. That's not what curriculum is. So you wouldn't normally see that, like, what are our techniques that we're using to teach research? That really falls under our North Star and our vision for high-quality instruction in the district. But I can just tell you that that's what a very standard aspect of this course and all of our social studies courses is teaching students how to research. And it gets more, complicated and sophisticated as they go up in the grades. One thing we are doing this upcoming year is we have a partnership with the Stowe Center, and we are having them come in and do some classroom workshops around how to conduct archival research right at the beginning of the year, because we felt that that is something that would lend itself well to what they have to do in U.S. history. So how would students be able to do accurate research on specific historical events is that we teach them to. So that's that questions 1 and 2. How that is done, because curriculum is the what less than it is the how. We wouldn't really see the how in the curriculum. That's not what curriculum is. The third question was, what is being done to assure that their research truly, I'm just reading it as, I think what you're asking here is that they are able to research from different points of view rather than just variations on a similar general view. So when we have our guiding questions, which are strategically made to be open-ended and really try to elicit multiple answers from those, like I can give you examples directly from the documents if you want. So there are features in the curriculum such as the guiding questions, our authentic application tasks, providing choice where students even have choices in how they're like showing us that they know the skills that are embedded in the curriculum and so on. These are all different ways that we encourage students to really approach things from multiple points of view. The other thing is that the people who make the curriculum, our teachers, also have different points of view. So it's not one person who sits down and creates the curriculum. We have teams of people. So for both the civics and U.S. history curriculum, I can tell you that included in those projects over the course of the last 3 years were men, women, teachers of color, white teachers, veterans, different political perspectives. We don't have like one person who goes about and writes all of it. Over the course of the 3 years, I would say for each of these projects, we had about 5 to 6 different people involved in the writing. And so there is an awareness of trying to, especially when we go through different sort of cycles of having different people look at it and contribute to it, where we are working in multiple perspectives. We don't have single people that write curriculum. And just to be very transparent, I did not write this curriculum. I am the person who sort of directs these projects. So it's not my own perspective. It's the teachers bringing in multiple perspectives. The fourth question was, is individualism versus collectivism explained in this course? So I did talk to the teachers, but also reviewed the content of, I believe you were talking specifically about the U.S. history course. What I was told from the various curriculum writers is this is an overriding theme throughout the course. Good examples of where these concepts are explored are in units 4 and 8, and in any area of the curriculum that addresses values, identity, responsibility, national identity, et cetera. So this is a much more of a overriding concept than like an individual unit. So those were the 4 questions that I received, and I'm happy to answer any other inquiries that you have.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Panos?
Yeah, thank you for that. It just appeared that they would, looking at it, that they would be doing, a lot of various tasks, like which you explain in units and the mapping about the various things. Explain how supporting questions contribute to an inquiry. This is part of your
Yeah, so just
and
for the.
how new compelling, it goes. That is something I assume, like all the rest, apply disciplinary knowledge and practices to demonstrate an understanding, and other things like this. This is how to. This isn't exactly content. That was.
Well, if you look at the standards, so I think I've explained this to the board, and for anyone from the public who's curious, the standards in Connecticut, which are not required in their entirety, are used as we don't have to use all of the standards. We don't have to incorporate all of them. In fact, we don't technically have to incorporate any of them. They are a guideline. However, when used as a guideline, if you look at the standards, they are heavily tied to inquiry. So like there's a whole separate set of standards within the standards that are just inquiry, and then they separate out the content standards. So there's a multitude of inquiry standards that are really surround the idea of skill development in addition to the content. So we did use the standards as a guideline, and therefore you will see a lot around that's pretty normal for there to be a very heavy focus on inquiry, research, and and writing and those types of things, because the standards, if held as a guideline, speak to that. But there are content standards that we used as well as inquiry standards. But the inquiry standards are pretty significant in that document.
So you don't have to, well, the question is how much. Everyone does inquiry standards, no matter who you are, and I guess everybody does content. It just seemed like there was such an emphasis on teaching inquiry as a topic that you would not have, the students wouldn't have time to do the research that would come from, a traditional kind of, history course where so experts in the field has put together, a number of key points that bring, that are historical and presumably researched professionally. So if they're doing their own research, they may spend a tremendous amount of time doing that research rather than having the historical, the benefit of the work done for them. So, and, like you say, there are many differing opinions about this, they will say, so they will spend a lot of time, researching different opinions. And I mean, you did say that you kind of, you thought that there was too much detail to the previous, like the 2015 or whatever they were.
Yeah, too many, too many units, which create too much transition, which then we can never get through all of them, because going through units, every time you move from one unit to the next, there's always a sort of a period of time in between there that ends up being reteaching or assessing or whatever. It wasn't much detail. There were too many units.
Well, there are many major events. The question is, what are the important events? Those events which explain subsequent historical development. That's what you look for, and that's an objective issue. So I don't know. It looked like they were going to be doing research projects, and therefore they might get to know a lot of detail about, I don't know, the 20s or the flappers or whatever it is, and then ignore some major points. So it's topic, and how much of an outline would they have in their minds when they left the course of history, U.S. history?
I think the map would give for the board or the public, I think the map gives that outline. There's still direct instruction happening. They're not researching all the time. And the text list that's provided in the document, in both the map and the units, would speak to sort of which primary and secondary sources are being used to drive the direct instruction. So, we're relying on, in this case, about 6 or so professionals who have experience teaching the course and have multiple degrees in history, not U.S. history, but history. And so we're saying to them, we trust the course of action you're going to take here, and then we're going to look it over and we're going to go through it and maybe make some tweaks. But I'm not sure if I can't say direct instruction is happening X% of the time and research is happening this other amount of time. It's really integrated. If you're in the classes, you'll see they're very content driven, and the content works alongside the research.
Okay.
Are there any other questions that I can answer?
With regard to, with regard to research from different viewpoints, the only things that are really important are those by different ideological viewpoints, either from the point of view of history. So doesn't matter what person's, physical background is. They can have very many, they can be physically different, but they have the same viewpoint. So that was the reason for that question. But I think you've answered the question. Thank you.
Thanks.
Questions or comments? Okay. This was the second reading. Motion was made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstention, motion carries 700.
That's for both courses? For both courses, right?
So,
We next have our policy. I don't see Mr. Wollaston here. We do have another member of the policy committee, Mr. Lockhart.
Mr. President, before I begin, it is the committee's intent and recommendation that's saying that that all of these are CGA-driven policy changes. that tonight is a first reading. We're going to be asking for a second, that we waive the second reading in the motion. So with that being said, I would ask if there's anything that needs to be pulled from consideration for a second reading. I'm hearing none. So a motion's in order, sir? All right. Move the Board of Education approve policy AR 4118.53 and 6141.3273, electronic resources, generative AI, also known as artificial intelligence. Policy NAR 5112, age of attendance. Policy NAR, AR means administrative regulation, 5133, attendance, truancy and chronic absenteeism. Policy and Administrative Regulation 5114, Student Discipline. AR 5123.1, Windsor High School Graduation Requirements. Policy 5144.2, Restorative Practices, Response Policy. And Policy 6148, Policy to improve completion rate of the free application for federal student aid, also known as FAFSA, as a first reading and waiving the second reading.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Lockhart to approve the policy items that are listed, and a second by Mr. Panos. I understand, again, without Mr. Wollaston here, I put it back onto Mr. Lockhart. My understanding is, other than the AI piece, these were all based on statutory or maybe I'll defer to Dr. Haiti, who was chairing that these were based on laws which may require us to have policies or ARs. Is that correct?
Correct. All of them except AI.
Yes.
Any other discussion or questions, comments? Motion made by Mr. Taylor, Mr. Lockhart, seconded by Mr. Panos. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Abstention. Motion carries 7-0-0.
Look at God.
Committee reports. I think there's anything outstanding. I know I'll defer to Ms. Zotter of long-range planning chair of what she would like to do. I know we didn't have time this year for a long-range planning, but if you could speak to your thoughts and hopefully starting in September.
Yes, I'm hoping to pull a long-range planning committee meeting together to socialize the concept of doing a cost-benefit study to assess what the cost over the next 10 to 15 years is to maintain our current buildings versus renovate versus build new, also taking into consideration the potential for decreasing our footprint from 4 elementary schools to 2. Again, this would just be the project plan to get the cost-benefit study off the ground. So when we're thinking about reaching out to the public, if it does, when we get the numbers and the figures in, we can say, we had a third party come in and assess, here's what we're looking at. The cost-benefit study would also include potential grant money from the state, so we would know exactly what it is that we would need to be looking at from a bonding perspective from the town. Also taking into consideration work that we already have planned in our SIP, and monies that might not have to be spent if we choose to go a different path. So very excited to go through the project plan with the long-range planning committee, then hoping to have a fast follow with town council to see if we can find funding to get the cost-benefit study accomplished. That would take upwards of 9 to 12 months for the complete study, and then we can take it from there. I know there has been some work done in the past, though, so maybe we can, pare that down to 6 to 9 months, depending on what consulting firm the town decides to go with. But I'm hopeful that if we do a cost-benefit study, we will see that continuing to put Band-Aid solutions on aging, unsustainable buildings is not going to be the most fiscally responsible thing for the town. And looking at the strategic operating plan for the next 5 years, I think having new facilities, sustainable infrastructure, and technology built into new school buildings would only really help drive Windsor forward. So exciting to see what we can accomplish.
Questions for Ms. Otter?
Not a question,
Comments?
comment.
Mr. Lockhart?
Project 2035 is in progress through the town right now. So I believe this will be a great opportunity to request the town to encompass this type of request within that work that they're doing right now. They're looking at all phases of the town right now as well, and this will be a great opportunity to incorporate that work, in my humble opinion.
Thank you.
Very humble.
Humble.
Anyone else? I know I saw on TV this morning that Weathersfield will have a referendum. They're planning to build a new school and renovate 2 others, and I think it was probably close to 150, 200 million. But again, parents were out there, and again, I think part of your research looked at what other school districts were doing to basically get the support, not just by parents, but by taxpayers, to say this is the best for taxpayers as well to have. So appreciate your work.
Did you say go from 4 to 3 elementary? Is that what you said?
So one of the things that I would ask that the consultant look into would be, so currently, as most people know, we have 2 K through 2s and 2 3 to 5. I think we have a large enough footprint with a couple of our school buildings to potentially have larger school buildings done, to have 1 K through 2 and 1 3 through 5, and then have Pequannock as a placeholder when we get universal pre-K. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed there. But we have to also take into consideration that having 2 schools as opposed to 4 is going to lower some of our overhead costs, because we're going from 4 buildings to 2. And again, if we can have 2 new school buildings built to scale, there's some, additional soft benefits too that could potentially come with that. Right now, I know sometimes we have, parents that say, oh, hey, I hear that, my kid's in JFK and I hear that Clover's doing this, and I want, to see if I can move my kid to Clover instead of having them at JFK. So having just all of our 3 to 5, K to 2 in one location might have some, soft benefits as well as, cost savings, especially if we're building sustainable buildings that will lower our utility costs as well.
Well,
Just not saying it would happen, I'm just saying it's something that we would want them to take a look at.
well, one of our costs is just operating costs, of course, is busing. Right now, we have an enormous amount, and we could save, of course, if we didn't have so much. And really the number of schools, I don't know, that you can. We've been through this before, more than once, and always something comes up, and you say, well, better not next time, So I think this takes some real thought, and go back and see what we did wrong. We've regretted certain things. We could have used the Walcott School, for example. I don't know, but this was, these plans come up and people have great ideas and they're great at selling them, and you've got to be wary. And so, I think we've got to do some common sense thinking about this. There's what's unique for the town, but the cost of busing hit us in the COVID far more than it hit other districts that didn't have these problems. So that is an issue. We're going from one end to the other and back and forth. Thank you.
Anything else? One of the another item, since Mr. Wollaston's not here, is I believe, I'm looking to Mr. Lockhart, that the state of Connecticut General Assembly, the legislature, did pass a law requiring us to have a specific policy on cell phone usage. So that, whether or not we send that to policy, or whether, again, the special committee is going to have to be charged with coming up with something next year. And again, the good thing is we are kind of late to the party with that. And so there are a number of policies that are out there already for us to look at and it may make sense to what we do now as programmatically, we then call it a policy with a big P, and it's the board policy versus
Right,
practice.
We've been looking at this, yeah, there are some.
And I don't know if that
improperly-
means, and I think we will have, as a committee of the whole, if we continue that, we'll have to say, are we gonna, if we really already have some ideas that are out there, do we still need to go to our stakeholders, even though we may not follow everyone's idea, because students may have one idea, parents another, administrators a third, teachers a fourth, the community a fifth. But, I think we still need to flesh out, again, using CABE, of what were the success stories of how did people do it in a successful way, so we don't have to reinvent that wheel as well. Next item on the agenda is announcements, Board of Ed meetings. We were going to have a special Board of Ed meeting on June 24th, and that is now postponed indefinitely at this time. The next regular board meeting is Tuesday, September 16th, 7 p.m. in the LPW boardroom. I'd like to go back and forth with people who are here if they have any comments, including if they do want to say something about the school they were assigned or anything else. So I'll start with Tracy.
On a non-school related note, I would be remiss if I did not mention that our community suffered a significant loss. We have two students in the Windsor school systems, Joey and Sean Eichner, and their mother, Allison, unfortunately and tragically passed away when she was on vacation in Ireland. I'm sorry, I've known Allison since I was in middle school. So just please keep her and her family in your thoughts and in your prayers. If you see the boys, try to be as loving and supportive as possible. They are bright lights, just like Allison was. So we just want to extend my sincere condolences to her husband, Dan, the kids, and her family.
Thank you very much for that. Her father-in-law was one time a board member here.
Right.
Board of Ed member.
Mr. Eichner.
John
Yep.
Eichner. And the mother-in-law was very active in the PTAs and PTOs. Mr. Madison.
1999 Windsor High School class.
Just mentioned. Mr. Madison, any comments? Thank you. Mr. Lockhart.
Yes, I just want to say to Dr. Haiti, the mobile classroom has just been a hit. I've been very, very not as humble, really promoting the mobile classroom and being very proud in every circle that I've gone to. It was promoted at the State Board of Education meeting. I'm definitely highlighted there. It's been highlighted all throughout CABE. I've been pushing it throughout the NSBA circuit, through all the states. And there's definitely a lot of rural states and rural areas that are really looking for these type of concepts to really serve their students. And you have some students in this country that fly little puddle jumpers to get to school, or they maybe go to school 3 days a week and it takes them maybe about 2 hours one way to get to school. So these type of innovative ways is definitely striking interest across the country. So every time I have an audience, anytime I speak, I'm going to have that bus as my background, along with the Windsor emblem, and just showing the possibility of what we can do when we come together as a collective. We fuss and fight up here. I personally enjoy that because where there's suffering, there comes blessings. and we're here for the kids, and that bus is definitely, that mobile classroom is gonna do wonderful things for those children, and it's just a tip of what that program is gonna look like maybe 5 years from now. So I'm glad that we were a part of it, and congratulations to you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Halleck.
Thank you. Very briefly, one last congratulations to the class of 2025, and I hope everyone has a great summer.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor.
Oh, there's so much. Class of 2025, my babies. I'm so excited for them, and I'm so glad for that data. If possible, to get that on social media I think would be so important to do. I hope. But back to what Mr. Madison and I, when we're thinking about like really highlighting what's going on, I'd love to see that this is like trending, not just the, the statistics and everything, but there's, actual people behind the statistics. And as you were naming these schools, you're absolutely right. You could take my daughter, you could take our rep here, our student rep here, you can take Sam Garcia, and I think Lourdes and the family would want me to share this. He could have gone anywhere he wanted to go, and he chose UConn. So I just want to just share that. Just because, students have chosen wherever they chosen for whatever reason, what you're not seeing is the 22 schools that Chloe was accepted to, she decided to go where she decided to go. So I think it's really, really important to share that data. If kids are being told to apply certain places so it looks like we're on the map, we've been on the map. But I really appreciate that data. The mobile classroom, it's so funny that you mentioned that. Mr. Lockhart, because I was thinking about CABE, and I was thinking about, and I know it's a bit of a drive, but might that be one of the offerings for a CABE session that you can sign up and? Are we bringing it? Because I was bringing the actual bus. Oh, okay.
I thought we were all going to drive down.
I'll take the ride.
You have to put some seatbelts in the back.
That is so funny. Yeah. Winnie. Winnie. Yeah. I think it's just, I was thinking about CABE, and it would just be so cool because I remember every session that Windsor hosts is always well attended and people are not falling asleep. They're really engaged. So I immediately was like, it would be so cool if we could bring the bus down there. But okay, so if you're presenting, that's fine. But I'm just saying it would be nice if we could take her on the road, Winnie, whatever we name her. But yes, so that's awesome. I definitely want to also shout out a number of parents that have reached out to me specifically about, they're deciding either they're leaving St. Gabriel's or they're leaving, Sage Park. Oftentimes people decide to go in a different direction for high school. And there's a lot of kids that I know, a lot of parents that I know that have decided to choose Windsor High School, that they've gone to Anna Grace, they've gone to all these different, magnet schools, correct schools, and they've decided that Windsor High School is where they want to land. Kudos to the social media, because when people are asking me at Windsor High School, you can tell from my social media that how much I care about Windsor Public Schools, but our robust social media is really highlighting everything that Mr. Madison and I have talked about, and kind of, when you're saying it, it's nice to really feel it in real time. Kudos to everyone, because this is so great. But I think that the summer will be a really great time to kind of see what that data looks like shifting over as people start to register their kiddos for Windsor Public Schools. And I'd be willing to bet you that we'll be on an uptick again. Congratulations to everybody who got promoted from, I don't know, what is it, second grade to third, and fifth grade to sixth. Oh, you all right? You all right? Okay. Yeah. Eighth grade to ninth grade, and the moms and dads that are letting their babies go, just like our Warisha. But I know you all will continue to do great things. Please be safe this summer. Please don't leave kids in cars. Please don't leave dogs in cars. I know it may not seem hot outside, but if you can't breathe, they can't breathe. So I'll just say that. And I'm surprised you didn't mention that, being safe. Yeah. Yes, I'll break a window. I'll do it. So there's that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Panos.
Just have a great summer. Thank you.
I would like to comment, again, thanking Ms. Taylor and Mr. Madison for pushing us to highlight things, special things that are going on in our schools, all of our schools, and things that can be potentially replicated. I think of the recycling project at JFK, and even though we do have some ideas of costs to it, but if that's what we want to do. There's so many special things, and I think, hearing them and seeing them is great for us to know the kinds of things that's going on in real life in our schools, and it's exciting. And great summer to everybody. Again, as others have said, congratulations, class of 2025, and be safe this summer. And at that point, I think we have audience to visitors as the last. Is there anybody in the boardroom who'd like to speak? Is anybody online with a hand raised? Guess that can conclude audience to visitor. One last motion.
I move to adjourn.
There is a second.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions? Motion carries 7-0-0. We are adjourned at 8:58.
Have a good summer.
This meeting was under 2 hours. Are you guys okay?
Hey, man.
I think Mr. Panos probably had to go someplace.
Becky, the power of prayer is strong.
I was with you.
And of course, listen to Sandman before you walk into
If we didn't have Mr. Lockhart here, it'd be a half an hour shorter.